Hey, what's up? It's your girl Neek, and you're tuned in to Neek at Night. And tonight we're going to be talking about Pam from Total firing back at her ex-husband, Jamie Long, who is now with Cyntoia Brown. So I did a video a while ago, and I broke down the backstory on this Jamie Long guy. And in the video that I did on him, I gave a breakdown of his backstory. I talked about how he used to be associated with Pretty Ricky. I talked about how he was doing secular music. I talked about, and I also shared one of his interviews from way back in the past. And I shared a couple of things about his background, which seemed like it might have been a little bit sketchy. And I kind of believe Pam when she came out and she said she wanted to warn Cyntoia because he wasn't exactly who he claimed to be. If you guys missed my video where I gave a lot of backstory on him, be sure to check it out because you may have a different outlook on who this guy truly is. Well, anyways, fast forward, him and Cyntoia went on the interview, like I said, on the Breakfast Club. And while Cyntoia, it was supposed to be a Cyntoia interview, but it turned into like a couples interview when they wanted to know how he felt about Cyntoia being warned by Pam from Total. And this is what they had to say.
Like, I was married before.
Yeah.
And I married the wrong woman.
Yeah.
I had the right intentions, but I married the wrong woman. And I said, man, I wasn't doing that no more, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I'm young. I was like, I'm just gonna live my life. You know, I can do anything I want to do. I can go I'm successful. I got a whole business running. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing this married thing no more. Sometimes the counterfeit comes before the real thing. And we fall for the counterfeit sometimes. But this time I got it right, and I know I got it right. This is my best friend. I think it was very selfish. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if she's trying to reinvent her career. I don't know what she's trying to do. But
she's a singer?
Well, Pam from Total.
Oh.
So I think it was very selfish of her to do that because me and my wife serious, man. We serious about what we're doing. We serious about the message. And, you know, I've been divorced from Pam, almost 4 or 5 years now, man. I don't know. And we didn't even hang out. I didn't see her that much when we were married. You know
I think
what
it was finalized 2014.
24, something like that. It doesn't
years
even
before I
matter.
met you.
But I just feel like it was selfish of her to come out and do something like that because it's like you discredit what my wife is trying to do, trying to attach your name to something like this.
What did she say? I didn't understand what she said.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
She warned me. Yeah.
About me.
On social media.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is a couple of quick snippets. Y'all know, y'all have to go to the Breakfast Club to see it in full. But basically, they talk about how they met. He talks about how he seen her on the recommended page on YouTube. He claims that he didn't know who she was. Then he watched the documentary. He got intrigued. He sent her a message. She said that she responded because he burnt the edges of the message. That was kind of unique. And then she goes on to say that it was him who kind of like took care of her while she was in jail and not the vice versa that people assume it to be. She talked about how she isn't this rich woman that people think just because you get a book deal, people automatically assume, oh, you're rich. She talked about how it doesn't work like that. She talked about how he got a house for them and he secured a house for them and he had a business secured and everything for them before she even got out of jail, and how, you know, it wasn't how people perceived it to be, in that he had divorced Pam prior to that, like years prior to them even getting around, involved or anything like that. He claimed that he wasn't with her for the fame of it because he didn't even know that she was going to be getting out of jail. You know, he talked about how, both of them talked about how she did not have any other appeals happening. Because, a lot of people felt like, okay, you're getting with her because of the notoriety that she has to her name, the fame that she has behind her. And, a lot of people felt like he was using her for that reason. And while they were on the interview, he shot that down and said that wasn't the case. However, whenever I see her do an interview, she has done an interview with the Breakfast Club. She's done an interview with, I believe, the Today Show, Tamron Hall. He's always front and center with him, with her, not him. He is sharing the spotlight with her. So it's like, who knows? He probably did seek her out thinking that, maybe one day with that little mustard seed of hope, thinking that, if this pans out, then I could get the fame and notoriety attached with this, I mean, even though she didn't have no appeals, don't mean that, he tried his luck and he bet on his luck and his luck panned out. Who knows? But anyways, let me get on over to Pam. So Pam, she responded to this whole little accusation that she was being selfish and things like that. So Pam, I guess she then said that she received a letter or something from him, and she decided to clap back and put him in his place. She has this podcast where she talks, and it's called Pam's World. And on the podcast, she kind of, set the record straight as to what really went down in their relationship. And it sounds like she's ready to do some interviews because of how she's sounding, like she really wants it out. What I did find ironic is Pam is like the famous one before him. So I found it interesting that she was still carrying his last name. I went over to her Instagram, and on her Instagram, when I first started following her, I don't think it said Pamela Long Forever. I could be wrong, but she's keeping his last name, and she's the famous one. He's not even the famous one. Normally, people keep the last name of their famous ex to keep that, association. But if he's as bad as she says he is, the only side eye is why I never understand why the women still keep and go by the last name. But that's neither here nor there. Here is what she had to say in response to him about him saying that she was selfish and all of the things that they said on the Breakfast Club. And again, I just gave you guys very minimal snippets. Go to the full interview to see everything that they said, because they said quite a bit. But here's her reply.
But there was this story that came out one something in the morning that was a straight lie. And I'm talking to you as my brother because I want you to hear me. And I'm talking to everybody else. It was a straight lie. And if I sit back and not open my mouth, then that's something that I feel that is not right. And it's time for me to speak regardless of if people agree with me or not. And so with all of that being said, there was a story that came out from my ex-husband, Jamie Long, last night. It was a letter from his camp or an email from his camp that was sent. And it was the most horrific lie. It was so strategically put together to try to bring a couple of things that I went through in my life, even when I worked at White Castles. It was trying to say that it was put together as if when he met me, this was where I was in my life, which in fact was not so. It also entailed when I worked at a place called MTF. And yes, I did work at White Castles by choice. When you come from a place where you give your life to the Lord, there are some things that you don't know that you have. Meaning that I didn't know that I was so prideful. And I remember when I didn't have to go to White Castles. I made the choice to go because I said to God, I need for you to humble me. When I was working at White Castles, I had people calling me, asking me, Pam, can you come do this song for 5 G's? Can you do this song for this amount of money, that amount of money? And my response was no. The reason why I said no is because God told me no. I worked at White Castles for over 3 months. And when I say that people would walk inside, come in and stand there and say, some would say, yes, that is her. Some would come and that some would be like, Pam, like, I ain't gonna out you. Yo, sis, like, yo, what you doing here? And, I would talk to them and I'd be like, I'm here, I'm working or whatever. And then, I'd be like, I'm working. I'd be like, yo, but you holding up the line though. You know what I mean? Like, I can't have a full conversation. I'm working the register. But, with all of that being said, people don't know the reason or the depth as to why I went there. I had to go there because I had to humble myself under the mighty hand of God. And I said to God, I said, if I'm supposed to go to White Castles, I said to him, I said, let me get hired. And when I walked in White Castles, they hired me on the spot. I walked out and I started crying because I knew. I was like, yo, I knew that I had to go through this thing. So it's just like it was a choice for me to be there. And I remember a friend of mine at the time, she said to me, you know, she's like, just quit. And I said, I can't. I said, I can't. And God it was almost like he began to promote me. It's like a graduation. When I left that place, he took me to a picture place. But when I left the picture place, packing pictures and doing the little spots on the pictures, you know what I mean? It was just like God was humbling me. Yeah, I worked at a picture place. You know how like when the kids take pictures at school, it's like, yeah. And I had to put like, you see like a little mark there. I had to fill little marks in and all that stuff. I had to do all of that, right? So it was just like he began to promote me. And then how I got to MTF, I had no qualifications whatsoever, but it was God himself. I was making at White Castles $7.50. Wow. And it was just like on the weekends, I was making $8 and some change. But it was just like, yo, and they calling me saying, Pete, can you come do this record? I remember one of the guys from Bad Boy, he called me, and I won't mention his name. And when I told him no about the record, he was like, he's like, what are you doing? Because by then everybody knew. Wendy Williams knew that I was, basically working at White Castles and all of this stuff. But it was something that God was doing with me. And every place that he took me to, it was like I was ministering to people.
Share, you guys.
So it was just so it was just like I had to go and through this process because he was processing me out. But at the same time, too, he was sending me forward to people, so it's just like, that's one of the things that, it was grouped in this whole email. And just to really talk about the email, like I said, it was loaded with so many fabrications, so many lies. And Beanie, I'm sorry to say this, but I know you feel the same as I do. But this joker lied even on my mother. He said that my mother wanted me to get married to a man because my choice was women. And my mom, my mom didn't want me to be with women. So she wanted me to marry him, because he was a man. He also said that in our marriage that he was, I lived in my mother's basement, which in fact, I didn't just live there. He did as well too. Come on, somebody. You came from Texas and you moved up here and you lived with me in my mother's basement until you lied to me and we told me we was going to Atlanta, and we wound up in Alabama. As we drove past Atlanta, and I looked up, I said, Atlanta right there. He said, just a little further. We just a little outside of Atlanta. It was 2 hours later, we make a stop. And you remember when I said I wasn't living there, right? Oh, you don't. You got amnesia? You got amnesia. I'm pretty sure you did. So let me help you to remind you of what it is that you said to me and how I was just like, I'm not living here, and how I cried at your brother's place. You remember that? And you was like, please, and and finally, of course, I stayed because of what? I was married to you. But you also stated that when we were together, that you was only with me for like 2 months. Really? I don't remember that, because you left, as you quote unquote, when you said to me, I left my son, I left everything. I never told you to leave your son. Never, ever told you to leave your son. But you lived with me in New Jersey. Then from New Jersey, we went to Alabama, and then from Alabama to Texas. So that sounds like more than 2 months, because we was married. We got married when 2013 to 2015, 16 was right before my mother passed away, is when the divorce happened. So now I want to talk about the divorce. Someone from, I don't think it was the neighborhood. I can't remember exactly who it was. The young lady had asked me for a comment. And I didn't respond right away. I just let it go. And I remember feeling like I needed to say something. I believe I got the okay from God to open my mouth, because I was still trying my best to cover you, because that's all I pretty much did, because of you being who you are. And you know who you are. Jamie, you know that you are nasty. You know that you are nasty, not just to me, but you've been nasty to your mother. You've been nasty to your sister, to your brother, to your family. I've seen it. I've seen it. They see it, but they don't speak up. And the reason why Pam got a lot of backlash, Pam, and let me just say one thing about Pam. Pam was never the perfect wife. Pam was never the one that was said that she was perfect. But what I did do is that I loved you, and I was trying to do what I thought I needed to do as a wife. But when I did not agree with you, and I didn't agree with the stuff that you was doing to some of your friends, that you treated men like they was little boys, and I said to you, Jamie, that's not right. Or the lady that was in the store, the woman of a different race, and I said something to you, and you blew up, and it's just like, oh, you gonna take their side, and you gonna do this, and you gonna do that. The same Jamie Long that said that he loved me, but the same Jamie Long that flew me across the bed at Kima's house. Come on, somebody. You want to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. The same Jamie Long that said that you wouldn't put your hands on me. The same Jamie Long that said that you love me. The same one that said that I was the beautiful girl and I was the dark-skinned woman that you saw in a dream, but I never saw your face. The same one that tracked me down on Twitter. You. That's the one I'm talking to. That I didn't know who you were. The one that before you and I got engaged, the one that said that you was up for 3 nights. It sounds like the story as far as with your new wife, the 3-day syndrome. That's what I'm going to call it tonight. The 3-day syndrome. When you said you was up for 3 days, and do you know what Proverbs 18 and 22 means, Pam? What it says? I said, no, Jamie, I don't know what it says, but I know what Proverbs 18 and 21 says. And then when you open it up, it said, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. And what did I do? I turned my face because I didn't want you to see my tears. Oh, you got me. You got me good with that one. Because I thought it was your heart that I was seeing. But no, I was seeing what I saw. I should have just listened to, because it's not your fault that I married you. It's mine. Because I knew. Because do you remember our conversation at the hotel when I told you that I didn't want to get married? I was like, I don't think we're ready yet. And that you blew up at the hotel, the couple of nights, or either the night before we was going to get married. Do you remember that, Jamie? When you blew up and you was just like, yo, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. I'm going to go back to Texas. I don't know what I'm going to do. But because I was the girl that was broken, the girl that didn't love herself, that was insecure, and I thought that you was my big fish, that you was the greatest catch that I ever had, because I was looking at your inside, your outsides, the outside of you, just like your wife now mentioned about how handsome you are. That I can say absolutely. I went with what I saw. That's what I did. And what did I do? I didn't want to let you go. I didn't want to let you go because I didn't want to lose the catch. And then to address the fact of someone saying in the interview of me wanting to be married, why would I want to be married to somebody that treated me some sort of kind of way? Because of the fact that when I got married to you, I never wanted to separate. One thing with me is that I made a covenant before God. You told me that it was just a piece of paper. That's what you said to me. It was just a piece of paper. How about the man that forces himself on women? Do you remember that night? You want to go there? Come on. I don't think you really want to talk about you. So my thing is that all the lies, and like I said to anybody else, come on, hook me up to any machine that you want to hook me up to. But I don't think you can sit down and be comfortable hooked to something, telling all of these lies that you're saying. And then you're going to talk about me sleeping with women. I've never, and I told you before, because let's address this. I remember when you said something to me, and you said something about one of my friends. You was like, oh, is that your girl? And I said, Jamie, I said, how you going to say something to me like that? And you was like, I'm just playing. I was like, don't play with me like that. I said, because I know I know what I used to do. And I've said it before. I've never been gay. Have I slept with women? Yes, I have. Did I enjoy doing what I was doing? Yes, I did. But did Pam say that she was gay? I wasn't never gay. Listen, I was looking for something in somebody. I got the attention that I wanted. I got something that I felt like was going to make me feel better about myself. And that's what I got from the situation. Because if I was gay, that's what I would have said, that I was gay. But I do know that whatever it was that I was going through in my life, that God has delivered me. So if you want to talk something, please speak it from the truth, not from these lies. And then if those of you that didn't watch from the beginning of Pam's World, I encourage you to go back, because when Pastor first got on here, the first thing that she said was that I'm not gay. Because also in your letter, you alluded to the fact that my pastor and I had some type of relationship. The only relationship that we have is sisterhood. It's something that you do not understand, because you nobody's brother. Jesus. You're not a brother to any of the people that you're around. You are one who is trying to capitalize. That's who you are. So if you want to speak truth, we're going to speak truth. And then when it comes to the marriage, and it said, and I made a comment about us, and the young lady asked me, when was my divorce final? And I said February. And honestly, it was a miscommunication, because I actually went back and I said to her, because if it's in the story that is up right now saying that Pam is selfish. That's what you put out there. Pam was selfish of her to say what? Selfish of me what? To warn the woman that you're with now about who you really are. It wasn't selfish. It was me reaching out woman to somebody to say, hey, sister to sister, be careful, because this dude is a wolf in sheep's clothing, honey. And if nobody else knows it, I do. And his family knows it too. They just don't speak on it. So getting back to when Jamie and I were married and our divorce was final in February, and I hit the young lady back from, I believe it was The Neighborhood. I'm not sure which interview it was, because it was only one. I can't remember the name. But what I did say, I said I do apologize, because I did say February. And as a witness, my pastor, not just my pastor, but my friend is here. And I said to her, she said, well, what did you send? I said, because I didn't say that. She said, well, Pam, when you put February up there, she said, I can see why she said it that way, because I didn't say February of 2016. But I put in the thing, I said, Jamie and I said, I can't say what Jamie is doing right now. I don't know when him and Cyntoia met and all of this stuff. I said, I can't say that. I said, but February, our divorce was final. And then from there,
you did put something with the year was in there. You had already put the year at the above part of the statement. So then at the end, when you put February, you were referring. It looked like you were referring to that year, but the way you read it, I said I can see why they thought it was this February. And I said, Pam, you need to retract that. You need to call back or reach back out. And you did reach back out.
Yes, I did.
And say that's a miscommunication. And that's not what I meant. It's February, whatever. And they said that they would put it up.
Got the receipts in my phone. I got the receipts in my phone. So if you need pictures of the receipts to anybody that want to do it, if you want to do an interview with your girl, I got other receipts in my phone as well to Jamie, some of your people that hit me up. And I mean some of your people. And some of Cyntoia, that's her name, right? I don't want to I think that's how it's yeah. I don't some of her people hit me up, and I got the receipts in my phone. And who are they talking about? They're not talking about her. They're talking about Jamie Long. That's who they're talking about. So my thing is that please stop lying. I'm praying for you. You have no idea how much I pray for you. I don't have anything in my heart against you. But when you get up on social media and you begin to lie, my thing is that God says, speak the truth. Speak the truth, regardless of who likes it or not. I'm not up here trying to, and you also alluded to me trying to make a name for myself. You have no idea how many opportunities, honey, that God has blessed me with to be able to do a song with this person, to do a song with that person. You have no idea how many times my phone has rung for so many different artists. And I'm not going to mention their names, but as a witness, Pastor knows. As a witness, my family knows. They know who called me and who I said no to. Because why? My thing is that I'm not just going to do anything for money, sir. But are you? Who are you? Wow. Who are you? I'm not just going to do anything for money. So I thank God at the end of the day, God bless you. I hope the best for you. But at the end of the day, Jamie, I don't think you want to continue down this road, because there is a God who sits high and he looks there. So when it comes to what you said, alluded to, the soft-spoken Pamela, you know what? Yes, did I get loud with you? Yes, I did. Because I had to. Who lives in a house with a man that they're afraid of? Come on, Jamie. You know what you did to me. You know what you did to me. You know all the stuff that you did. You know all the things that you said. You even said something to a cat that was supposed to be on my team, called himself my brother. You told him that you was going to break me. You told him that that's what you was going to do. I was too close to my family. I was too close to my mother, that you was going to break me. Do you remember having that conversation with him? With the initials K to the B? Y'all remember that, do you? Do you remember the conversations that you had? I don't think you remember. You know who the initials are, right? And so do I. Everybody else might not know, but I know. And so do you. Check yourself. Examine yourself and examine your heart to see where you are, because you are out here saying that you are a Christian man. And I hope you really have changed. But honestly, your fruit don't say that you have, because you're lying. Okay.
Okay, so as you can see, that is her response to the situation. She talks about how she was afraid of him, how, you know, they both were living certain places that he tried to act like, you know, she was. She talked about her low points in her life, where after the group total, she even worked at places like, you know, White Castle. And, you know, she had some very humbling experiences, and she declined certain offers to work with people because she didn't want to do it for the money. And she talked about him being a person who is a person who would do it for the money. She talked about how different people reached out to her, and just, you know, elaborating on their situation as a whole, and putting a lot of emphasis on how she feared for him and how she was with him and she was kind of like afraid of him and things like that. My only take from it, and I'm not taking away anything from her experience with him, I just never understand, if a guy is so horrible, it kind of makes me think about Drea. Like, if a guy is so monstrous to you, I cannot keep that person's last name. Like, I would want nothing to do with that person, you know. And if I'm sitting here sending warnings to the other person, I'm be like, listen, sis, I got out. I am on a whole new wave. I wouldn't even want nothing to be associated with me with that person. But that's just me personally. And again, that's not taking away anything that she experienced. Like I said, I did a full video on him where I talked about his background and how he was in the group Pretty Ricky and how he had did several things. And I do find it sketchy that now that Cyntoia is doing all of these interviews, that he is front and center, and, you know, he's trying to get the fame as well. So I do find that sketchy. I just, like I said, I have to be real on both sides of it. I just always find it weird when women keep the last name, especially her being the famous one out of it. Like, he should be trying to keep your name because you the famous one. I don't know. Whatever. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this situation down below. Let me know what you think about what she had to say, what they had to say. Let me know what you think about it all together. All right, guys, that's all for this video. Stay tuned for more celebrity news and gossip. But in order to do that, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button right now. And if you like my videos, be sure to share them because, you know, that helps me out a lot. And if you want to donate to support my page, all of that information is in the description box down below. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Peace.